So this is the biggest wedge review of the year. It's the Callaway Opus SP versus the new TaylorMade MG5. Let's get onto the mat and see what the numbers say. So we're midway through 2025 and the two big boys of the golf industry have decided to launch a new wedge. Callaway have brought out the Callaway SP, an upgrade on the previous Opus generation, and TaylorMade have gone with MG5. Now, the MG family has been around a few years, so MG5 is another upgrade on that. What are the main differences? Well, Callaway have really just tweaked the grooves as the main focus. They've got a 17-degree angle. They've messed around with the center of gravity to give a more penetrating flight, and they've got this increase in angle of the groove to help you create more spin. What have TaylorMade done? Well, they've done something they haven't done. They've done something that I don't think they've ever done, which is they've produced a forged wedge. Now, they've come away from cast, they've gone into forged, and that's going to marry really, really nicely into their P series range. Now, they've both come up with a slightly different bounce option as well. So Callaway have brought back the X grind, a very, very popular grind from previous generations and previous wedge models, and TaylorMade have produced this new SX grind, which is that slightly higher bounced option, but with versatility. So both of these wedges that I've got in my hand, both 60 degrees, they're both their new wedges. They look good. They look great. I mean, I've hit them in test before. You can watch some of the previous videos where I've just hit the test. I did a really nice video with Lee from TaylorMade who taught me through the new technologies in the MG5, which was great. But now it's time to go head to head. Now, we know in the wedge market, there is a brand, we can't mention them at the moment, but they are very, very dominant. So these two guys bringing out these wedges for me is about really having a go and trying to reclaim some of that wedge market. So we'll start with MG5. We're just going to hit some 70, 80 shots. Now, I know that we're not going to get perfect TrackMan data from this. It's not going to be absolutely spot on. So I'm going to try and give you a bit of a subjective feel and a subjective opinion on what it looks like and what it feels like. So immediately, you know, I'm an MG4 player for full disclosure, so this look and this kind of rusty finish, if you like, in the middle and the way the ball frames is something that I'm used to. We've got this better look at the bottom end. It's a better front line and leading edge, and for me, this extra bit of bulbous in the top and the toe has really helped maybe redefine how the top edge sits. So 60 degree looks nice. Let's see what the feel is. So zipped off there quite nicely. So I'm only hitting these 60, 70 yards, not very far at all. Spin was pretty good on that, 6,000 revs, carried 56, okay. So it's a lovely feel off the face with that, and it's something that I'm really comfortable with personally from my MG4 days, so I really like that bit of feedback. It does feel slightly softer though, and that may be the forged element in it. Some good spin there, 6.8. On such a short shot, I personally quite like that. I mean, it sounds, what I love about this wedge straight out the gate is how solid the wedge feels. So sometimes with certain wedges, they can get a bit clicky, they can get a bit sort of almost tinny in their feedback. This feels just really solid, and that's going to give you a little bit, one of the things TaylorMade have played around with is trying to get that penetrative flight as well. So it feels like the ball's going forward more than it's just going straight up in the air. Oh, that was lovely. Some really good spin numbers off it, some really good data off of that. 6,000 revs. Smash factor is great. So again, when we look at smash factor, it's a really weird number, isn't it, when you're talking about different clubs. With a driver, we know we want it up in that 1.5. We want the ball speed 1.5 times roughly the club head speed. When we're hitting shots like this, 60, 70, 80 yards, we want it as close to 1 as possible. We don't want loads of ball speed, we want total control. We want the club head speed and ball speed really matching off a 60-degree wedge. So some good numbers there, land angle's brilliant. Spin rate's pretty good, 6.4, we got one up there at 6.8. So overall, pretty solid. So I'm going to jump in and have Opus. Now I've got the dark shadow finish, so in previous videos you'd have seen with Opus that I quite like the way that sits and I quite like it feels. I've dived in and out with the different coloured finishes in the last 4 or 5 years. It depends what it is. I've had the black generations of MG3, I've had the chrome versions of MG4, so let's just see what this does. So, oh, that felt nice. A little bit clickier than MG5. What's spin saying? Oh dear. Okay, maybe that was just luck. So, nice. A little bit toey, so not a great strike. Can't really argue with that one. Oh, that was nice. To be fair, both actually feel very similar off the face. They both look good. Obviously, these guys know what they're doing, and there's only so much you can do with a wedge. In terms of the look, I think the MG5 breeds that little bit more confidence in the 60. The Opus SP does sit a little tighter, so. Oh, that's Dean, that's not fair. Okay, we'll hit one more. Hit one more. Felt nice. Okay, so let's bring up some numbers here and see some comparisons. So overall, what we're looking at is smash factor on both is quite similar. So just under that one relationship between club head and ball speed. Carry distance, both very similar. So we were hitting, just for full disclosure, we're hitting the same sort of length shot there. Land angle, if we scroll down to the MG5, we'll see that the land angle is slightly higher in MG5. So you're getting that slightly more higher, poppier flight. In terms of the launch angle, again, same sort of thing. MG5 is launching a little bit higher. We're using 60 degrees in both. As an average, it launched a bit higher. I think the main difference when we look at these two wedges, and it's quite a contrast, is the spin numbers. Now, we're using the same golf ball. We're using a premium golf ball. So you could argue the strike location is slightly off with one, but there's about a 15,000 or 1,500, sorry, not 15,000, 1,500 rev difference on average between Opus SP and MG5. So for me, that is a massive marker in the difference between the two wedges. However, this will always come back to when you come to wedges, and I'm a big believer in this when we fit wedges. We can go into loft and grind and shaft and length and line, the rest of it, but we also have to take into account the visual component of the player. So some players will want to see the ball launch a little bit lower and spin harder and faster. In that case, in this test, Opus would probably be that winner. However, MG5, some players will want to see the ball pop up a little bit higher and land a bit softer with a slightly higher land angle. And in this case, you would say that MG5 is for that player. So both wedges are good. They both look fantastic. The great finishes, a great time to bring out wedges in the middle of a season so that you can actually get to the point of upgrading your wedges. But it's really a case, guys, of what do you want as a player. Now, if you want more spin, in our test just there, with a premium ball, the Callaway Opus is coming out on top. It's down to feel, it's down to how you want to play it, but these two wedges are definitely going to compete in the market. Thanks for watching. If you like our videos, please hit that subscribe button and tell all your golfing friends.